Hello, everybody. I guess maybe this counts as a TPS reports. I don't know. This is a special edition here that we're doing because I'm excited. I'm pumped up. This is probably the most excited I've been for any of our shows, maybe even any of the pool series tournaments. Obviously, I'm joined by Pat Dixon. Thanks, Pat. And we're also joined by a legend, a champion, a hero to some people, Corey Sykes. Corey, how are you?
I am great. Feeling pretty lucky to be invited back to this show because I know I was on one time before, but yeah, very excited to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Pat, how are you doing, buddy? You doing all right?
Man, I'm fantastic. Kids are already down for, some sleep. I see pool tables in the background. I see trophies. I'm feeling good.
And that trophy is what we're here to talk about because Corey Sykes, the one and only, wins what I consider to be one of the most prestigious tournaments in the country, the Super Billiard Expo. Over 1,000 players, single elimination, super tough tournament to win. Just wow. Corey, congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, man. Yeah, the amount of luck that needs to happen to win that thing is unreal, actually. But as I said before we started recording, I have to give a major shout out to TPS for training me, I would say, in the events I have played, given it follows a very similar format.
Yes.
For me to be able to grind through such a long and exhausting event. So, but yeah, thank you.
It's
definitely biggest win of my pool career.
Yeah, this was definitely they were the inspiration behind me coming up with this format that we do because I personally think that it is the best format for a pool tournament.
I would honestly agree. I mean, it's with the pool series. I think it's actually tougher to play in your tournaments than it is to even play in the Expo because race to 3 is like every game matters. Race to 5 at the Expo, every game matters. The fact that it's single elimination makes it even more stressful because if you lose one match, I mean, you could be done on Thursday and you're not leaving until Sunday. So what are you going to do the next couple of days?
And that literally was me this year. I lost Thursday night at like midnight and I didn't come home until Saturday. We ended up leaving early. Like we left Saturday like early evening. So we got home middle of the night.
Yeah. See, so yeah. I mean, it's some added extra pressure every match. You're like, I can't lose, or I'm gonna go home. So, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Pat, you haven't been to the Expo yet, but so we'll just let you go ahead and start off. What question do you have to Corey about his win and about the Expo?
Yeah, what is it, and how do you sign up? No, I'm kidding. So you talk a lot about the pressure and like how much is involved on roles going your way in order to get to the championship. So what would you say is like more important when you're in a tight match? Would you say it's kind of technical precision or mental grit?
I would say mental grit. I think it's one thing that I've like struggled with when I play in like larger, probably like more professional events. Even something I struggled with when I played at the Expo, because like I've been going to the Expo since I was in college, actually. When I first started like playing pool, and I definitely wasn't as good as I am now. Not that I'm anything great now either, but I've been going to it for like 12 or 13 years. And I think the first 8 or 9 years, I lost every single time playing to get into the money. And most of the time it was actually just pressure I put on myself. Because for those that haven't been to the Expo, it is 1,000 plus people. It's about $100. It used to be $100 to get into. I think it's 120 now. Yeah. But to get into the money, into the top 64, they pay out really, really well to get into the top 64. So this year it's like $900 or $1,000, just like the minimum cash. So that match alone is worth like a good amount of money. And I had always put like a lot of pressure on myself to do it. But then I finally broke through one time. And I think over the years, as I've gone up there, I've gotten a little bit more confident, felt a lot more comfortable in my game, like no matter like how things are going. So yeah, I would definitely say mental grit and toughness is definitely one, but it helps being in those positions a couple of times before to help make you feel more comfortable to deal with it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so like take us back to the final rack at the Expo. It's the final rack. Are you aware of what's going on? Do you put some pressure on yourself because it's like, okay, this
the
could
final
be
rack to win the Expo?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I had like, oh man, I think I was down 3-2 in the second set. And I had like a really, really good run out. I like banked a ball, like came straight across the table, perfect. And I got out. And then he missed a 4-ball. And I just remember getting him off the table and I was like, dude, just like, please like calm down. It's a very straightforward run out. I think it was like 5 balls on the table. They're all like tic-tac-toe pretty much. And then I got out and I was like, all right, dude, like if there's one time in your life to break well, like just get lucky. I don't even care. And I broke and I had like this super difficult layout where I had to bank a ball. I had to cut a ball down the rail. And I'm glad, like, I think my opponent, Jeremy, one of his friends was recording the match. So like I've got the video saved. I
Nice.
put it on YouTube myself. And I remember getting down on the 4-ball. It was like a pretty tough cut just straight up the rail. And I went to get down on it and someone like walked in my shot. So I got up and I could just like feel like my heartbeat like in my chest. And I was like, dude, just like take a sip of water. Like if you just make this one shot, like everything else is just laying out for you. Like you've won the tournament. Like just make this one shot. Just get really lucky if you need to. And sure enough, I got, as luck would have it, I shot it down the rail and everything else was pretty straightforward from there. But yeah, dude, I remember everything about it. Like I said, it's the biggest one of my career. So yeah, I'll never forget that.
There's definitely there's only one winner every year. I don't know how many years exactly have they been doing the Expo. Do you know, Corey?
I'm not sure. It's in 20 years, maybe 30, maybe even more than that. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's definitely been over 20 for sure. You mentioned that you'd played like maybe 13 times prior. How many times? Do you know how many times you had cashed exactly?
3.
So this was the 4th?
Yeah. Yep. Every time I've cashed, I have gone relatively deep into it. Because once I broke that hurdle, I was just like, I can out. The incremental money you get from 33rd to 64th to 9th is like a couple $100. So it's really not that big of a deal. The first time I cashed, I lost to Chris Robinson, who former Moscone player, also fantastic, just general person and pro player. And then last year I lost to Thomas Haas, who obviously fantastic player as well, up and coming, probably pro player at some point.
For sure.
And then this year. So yeah.
Nice. So what were your expectations going into this year? Like, did you practice more than usual? Like, were you expecting maybe to win, or were you just thinking?
No. My wife's been joking with me. She says it's hilarious that you won this year, given it's the least amount of pool I've ever seen you play, which is like so true. I'm thankful I have like cool house, nice basement. I can practice when my child goes to sleep, but Pat mentioned as we were recording or right before, like kids are down to sleep, but life is good. So I've got a 2-year-old and another one on the way. So my amount of pool playing is like definitely going down at this point. So yeah, definitely was not playing a lot. But for some reason just felt like, I was just like winging it this year. I remember playing in the second round, depending on how many questions or stories you guys want to hear about it. I remember playing in the second round.
We want all the details.
And I was playing this guy, Carlos Barbosa, I think he's from Puerto Rico. And I had my buddies, Trey Frank and Jonathan Ailstock and Joshua Padron, like hanging out with me. And it was a second rack. And whether the guy, like, he might just like not seen what happened or whatever, but I was sitting down the rail looking at a shot and he kicked 2 rails into a ball and it didn't touch a rail. And I was like, hey, that was a foul. We got into a little dispute about it. And, we exchanged some words and went back and forth. But finally, it was like, no foul. And I remember from that point on, I told Trey and Jonathan, I said, sit down. Like, I'm about to like dominate this match from here on out. And then after this, I was like, I might mess around and win this tournament. Like, I feel like I might win this thing. And that was like the running joke the rest of the weekend. Like every match I played, if I won, they were like, oh my gosh, you might actually do this thing.
You told me, remember we were watching Josh Padron play a match and you told me, you were like, man, I'm playing really good. I might just win this year. I don't know if you remember telling me that, but
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just felt really comfortable this year for some reason. I felt no pressure. The only time I felt pressure, like when I was explaining to you guys that last rack, like outside of that, like I played pretty well most of the time. And I got really lucky when I needed to. Like, let that be like very clear in case anyone ever watches this interview. Like I got super lucky at a lot of fortunate times. like playing Steve. But otherwise, yeah, I felt great. I played great, and just got lucky when I needed to.
Definitely got to get a little bit.
There was a moment.
Great that you acknowledge that. But go ahead, Pat.
Oh yeah, no worries. I was going to say too. That reminds me of a moment that happened at Fast Action Billiards that we always talk about. When Clint Clark was playing Hank Powell, and it was really late in the night. I can't remember. It wasn't a hot seat, but it was somewhere very, very deep where they were probably going to play for the championship. I think it might have been the semifinals. Justin, correct me if I'm wrong.
Semifinal, yeah.
And thank you. And Hank Powell three-fouled Clint, and there was a bit of a discussion about the three-foul that happened, and that pissed Clint off. And then from that moment forward, Clint went on a tear through the rest of the grand finals. So would you say for yourself that and it was fine, like they're perfectly fine. It was just, talking about the moment,
sure.
and it was just you saw something click over with Clint. But would you say for you that little dispute that you had with that guy was the catalyst to you getting to?
Possibly. I literally thought about it every match that I played, and it would help me get into almost like a deeper, more motivated zone. Because I mean, off recording, I'll tell you the rest of the story, but on recording, like we had some choice words, and it was interesting for sure. But yeah, I definitely use it to my motivation throughout the rest of the tournament, and yeah, that's interesting with Clint, and yeah. So
I want to know. So you're talking about that match and obviously the finals, but was there like a certain match this year that was like your favorite that you're going to look back on? Like, I mean, obviously the finals, but was there like a match where you're like, I really enjoyed that match, or just I really felt like I played perfect or something like that?
Yeah, I think like two other matches kind of stick out in my mind. One was I played an older gentleman named Rich Winpigler from, I think, Frederick, Maryland.
Okay.
And that dude whooped me in the first set. It's the only set I lost in their tournament. He beat me like 5-2, and I don't think he missed a ball. Just outplayed me. And it was like, I think it was the first round of the money. It might even been to get into the money. And I was just like, dang, like what am I gonna do from here, right? And I remember it was 3-3 in the second set, and he tried to play a combo, and he left the 9-ball hanging like up in that top right corner up there. And the 4-ball was literally frozen on the middle diamond all the way up there. And the cue ball was way down, kind of like where it is now on the table.
Okay.
And I had no safety really. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to shoot that bar shot where you just hit it with a ton of inside spin and try to like spin it in the corner. And sure enough, I made that ball and ended up dead perfect on the 5-ball. And then I played a combination for the 9-ball. So I got out that, and then I broke and ran to win the second set.
Thanks.
And I think that just like changed the entire like part of that match. I think I won the third set like 5-1 or something. So I won that one. And then I went and played Steve Fleming next. And just, I know we're talking like you played him, you lost Hill.
Yeah.
When I played Steve played absolutely perfect against me. He was up 4-2 in the first set. He had a couple of friends watching, some that I know. And he had a really easy run out, and he was down on the 3-ball. Probably just like a foot or two away from it. And just, I don't know if the ball skidded or he punched it into the rail or what happened, but he missed the shot and left me a really simple out. So I got out there, and then I broke and ran to Hill. And I remember sitting down 4-2, and I was talking to Josh Padron, who was watching me. And I said, dude, if he messes this run out, like I might mess around and win this set, and he's going to crumble from here. And so he missed that ball. I got out. I broke her, and it was Hill. And then I played safe in the last rack, and he ended up sort of like missing like an easy kick shot again. And I remember running out, and from there it was like the gates just like opened for me the rest of the tournament in terms of like being lucky. Even on the last day, like there was some like really I would say lucky stuff that went my way. Like for instance, for anyone that watches the interview, like Thomas Haas was in the last 16.
Yeah.
He got pulled over coming to his match. So he forfeited out of the tournament. That alone was like kind of a big deal because he's a heavy favorite, I think, to win the entire event, or might get lucky enough and play him in the finals if I ended up, running the way I was. So there are a couple other like extenuating circumstances, I would say. But definitely those two things stuck out for me in my own like journey to the championship, where I was like, man, I got really lucky right then.
Yeah, definitely Thomas having to forfeit was definitely a huge deal. Like you said, he's definitely one of the favorites to win this tournament, and probably be one of the favorites to win this tournament every year until he upgrades to the pro event, I would imagine.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he's a fantastic player and obviously a really good gambler too.
Yeah.
For those that have been watching him play, just an absolute great player. So yeah, I'll be excited to see what he's up to. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's like 20, 21
Yeah,
maybe. So very, very young.
I feel like he's 21 because I think I've seen him with an alcoholic beverage.
I mean, he's a monster. So I'm excited to see where his game goes for sure. Very bright future.
Absolutely, I can't wait to watch. Pat, any next question?
I got one more. Have you ever had a moment where you almost walked away from pool? And if so, what kept you in it?
I would tell you no. For those that know me, might not even know this, but when I was growing up, I grew up on this really small island called Shingatig Island in Virginia, and it's like an hour and a half north of Q Masters, but there's no pool tables there. So when I was growing up, I had my parents' little IBM Think machine, desktop, and I used to play Yahoo Pool growing up from the age of like 7 or 8, and that's how I got into like software development and hacking and all that fun stuff with gaming that I still do to this day. And so I've always played pool. It just happened to be online for the first like several years of my career of playing pool. But then I went to Virginia Tech and have played pretty much ever since then. So no, I've always grown to love the game. I think I've continuously gotten a little bit better over the years. Though I feel like I definitely have plateaued in some ways, like with the family and stuff. But I also feel just a lot more like at peace. Like when I play, like I'm just having fun, regardless. I don't take anything too seriously. I think, for those that know me, like I might get upset when I lose a match or something for like 5 minutes or something, and then it's like, it is what it is. On to the next one. So, but no, I don't think so, Pat. It's a good question that probably everyone should answer themselves. I'd be surprised if I think most people would say pool has frustrated them enough to make them want to quit at least once.
For sure. I remember the Yahoo Pool as well, though. I remember playing that when I was like 12, 15 years old.
Oh, yeah.
I got a couple more questions, though, here really quick before we sign off. Just overall, the Expo itself, just what is like your favorite part? I mean, other than just playing, obviously winning the tournament, but just overall, year after year, like what keeps bringing you back?
Oh, man, I love hanging out with you. I love seeing all my buddies from around the East Coast. I think there's a lot of people that come from all over the U.S. and generally from across the world that play in it. But it's definitely concentrated with folks from the East Coast because it is in Pennsylvania every year. So I love seeing all my friends from Virginia, some friends in Florida that I know, some people up north, just people I've met over the years that are just like really, really good players. Getting a chance to talk to them, see them play, and generally hang out. That's probably the most fun for me because you're only playing so many matches, right, on a given day. I think on Friday I played one match.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do for the rest of the time? Just have some food and just relax and hang out with buddies and catch up. I've been lucky enough to know a bunch of the champions. Like it's funny how it works. Like a lot of my close friends, I would say, have won the tournament as well, which is like kind of insane when you think about it. But yeah, generally just hanging out, enjoying the time, getting to catch up with y'all.
That kind of leads into one of my other questions. How many of the previous winners like texted you or messaged you? Like I feel like it's just one big like fraternity. It's kind of like the golf masters, like
yeah.
And then like everybody will all the previous winners will text them like, is this what happened? Like did all the like previous 20 people just message you?
I don't think there's a champions locker room at the Expo like they have at Augusta. That'd be hilarious if they do. But I was joking with Chris Bruner.
No winners meal next year.
Well, that's what I was. I don't know if you saw this on Facebook. I was joking with Chris Bruner and Derek Schwager and Danny Mastermaker, all former champions. That I was going to get us some custom like jean jackets or blazers or something, and I was going to fold out a table at Wawa, which for those that have been to the Expo, Wawa is like the closest food source. It's also a gas station, so been joking about that one. But yeah, I mean, I got a bunch of congratulations and I mean, even big shout out to Carmelli, Ariel
Yeah.
Carmelli, who makes my pool cue, wrote a nice Facebook post.
He doesn't
It's
know.
kind of funny. He put that I don't know, which I thought was hilarious. I got the sentiment for sure, so I kind of just like jokingly jabbed back. But that was really cool. And then just over the past week, even going to like the Beasley Open and stuff, like getting some congrats from people like BJ Ussery, who tends to always be like very, hard spoken and
Well, I think
tough
he's a
person.
previous. I think he's a previous Expo winner. I think he won the very first one. I think.
Yeah, I know he's won it for sure, and does not surprise me. I do think over the years, like the Expo maybe has gotten a little bit easier, I would say, just because they tend to block like higher Fargo players. Now that Fargo exists, they have different criteria for blocking players. So like I'm definitely mindful that, maybe I have it easier than what it used to be. Of course, you have to get lucky and still win. That's no doubt. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where Fargo ends up taking the Expo in the future. Hopefully they still allow, I would love if they made it so that everyone that has a W-2 job or a general career, like you can just play in the tournament, because there's people that tend to play, just still as an amateur, like not as a professional. Like Jeremy C, for example, who's like an insanely good bar table player. I mean, generally a great player on all games. Has a full-time career, right? So like someone like him should be able to play if he wants to, and he would be a favorite to win that thing almost every year. He's such a great player. So
absolutely. I think so. I got two more questions. They kind of run into each other, so it's kind of just one question with a second part.
Sure.
Are you going to go back next year, which I imagine you will? And do you like your odds of going back to back? And also, what's going to come first? You winning the Expo again, or you winning a pool series event?
Ooh, hopefully a pool series event. I think I'll play in more of those before I head back to the Expo. Will I go next year? I think I'm going to try very hard to go.
Good.
I do have a second kid on the way, due in October. So that will play a very critical role.
For sure.
I will have to get the approval of my my sponsor, my wife, and generally my family to make such a trip. Playing zone defense on one kid is fine. Playing man to man is also okay, but leaving my wife to play 1-on-2 might be a little tough. So we'll see where we go on that one. Do I like my odds going back to back? No. No, not at all. Dude, if I ever win this trophy again, I'm gonna like lose my mind. Actually, this is probably the one that I'm gonna get. I've luck boxed my way to making it happen. I am like very mindful of that. So if I never win it again, I will still be just as happy as I am right now. I'm still on cloud nine, just like seeing it in the background, dude. It's really, really cool for me. I would like to win like the US Amateur Championship at some point.
Yeah.
That's probably the other really big one that just has some prestige. And I was showing you guys my shelves. Like I just, I'm a tournament player. I'm not a massive gambler by any means. I've thought about switching to that since I have kids now and I can't dedicate an entire weekend to playing pool. But nevertheless, like I'll take my one and be happy for the rest of my life if I can. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, all good questions. But I would like to win a TPS event. Let that be clear. So then maybe that can train me more for next year.
It's coming. I feel like it's coming. You're definitely going to get one. Pat, do you got any last question?
We're going to see you on May the 10th. That is the next pool series. We're going to be in Raleigh. Brass out.
Then for sure. Of course I'll be there. If I'm out there playing, I'm definitely going to come by and commentate. And hopefully you'll be there this time. And not out, scouting some ultimate pool.
Well, priorities, getting things situated. We'll see what happens. I really want to make it out there though, bro. When I heard that you were providing some commentary on the mic earlier in the year, I was so pissed that I couldn't make it. I had this other event I had to go to. I was like, Corey was on the mics. He's like, yeah, dude. I was like, oh my God. I had a chance, man. I had a chance. So
even if I'm not playing, I will absolutely come up there so I can commentate and hang out with you guys. It's always a blast when y'all come through. So
that's awesome, man. Congratulations to you, my guy.
Thank you, Pat. Appreciate it, man.
Corey, let's get like your last thoughts. Wrap the show up before we sign off.
Wrap the show up for you guys. count your blessings, take luck when it shows up for you, and enjoy playing pool. You know, no reason to get upset while playing. So just enjoy the time. And see you all back on the table sometime.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, Pat. It's been fun. Corey, congratulations one more time. For the pool series, for the TPS reports, thank you all for watching. Hit the like, subscribe button on YouTube. Hit the follow button on Facebook. And we'll check you later.